I welcome you all in this second video of our JavaScript series. In this video, I'll be teaching you about the variables in JavaScript. Before going on to that, I would like to tell you about the comments in JavaScript. Now, what are the comments? For example, we have a code and we have to explain a specific part of the code. Okay, so what we can do, we can write a comment. As you can see here I have explained you comments in JavaScript. To make comments, we just need to put the slashes, etc, etc. Okay, so similarly, when we write a code, the programmers make comments to to tell us about that particular part of the code. So if the other developer will work on my code, he will understand the code in a minute by writing my comments on it. The second use of comments is, for example, we wrote a code and a specific part is useless, right? But we want to we want that part of code to remain in our file for the references. Then what we can do, we can simply comment out that particular part of the code. Okay, now let's understand how we can make those comments. To make comments, we just need to put two slashes behind the text. Comments are useful to write any no code thing in the code, and also we can comment out unnecessary code. Okay, now let's see that how we can do it. So if I would write console.log what we learned in the last video, Danish, now to make it a comment, I will simply do two things. The number one thing is go on the back and put two slashes. So it will convert it in the code. The second thing is to use a VS Code built-in shortcut, which is press the Control K and C. Okay, by pressing Control K and C all together, the line will be converted into code. And if you want to make it uncomment, then you will simply do to Control K plus U. Okay, so that's how we make comments in JavaScript. Now let's come to the point that what are variables. So first of all, I would like to give you a analogy. Now, why I always give a analogy before explaining the actual definitions? The reason is, if I will go directly onto the formal definition, then it might be difficult to understand. Okay, so first of all, always I give an analogy to make the thing simpler. So, in order to understand a variable, close your eyes and think about a container. Now, what we do with the containers, we put different things or goods in that container to store them, right? Now, in similar manner, we have variables in JavaScript to store different things in it. Things mean here data. Okay, so we declare a variable with a random or particular name, then we store data into it. So variables act like a container in programming. Okay, so comes the formal definition. Variables mean anything that can vary. Okay, in JavaScript, a variable stores the data value that can be changed later on. Now let's code a variable. How can we write a variable? But I also want you to write with me, okay, so that it will be a live practice for you. So to declare a variable, first we have to write var, which is var for variable. Then we have to declare the name of the variable. Here I will be write my name. Then I will put a is equal to sign, and here I will write my name in quotes. Now, why I always write anything in codes, I'll be explaining it later when we will be learning data types in JavaScript. For now, just make the codes and write your name in it. My name is Danish. You can write here your name. Okay. So that's how we made a container called my name and we store the data Danish into it. All right. Now, as we see in the definition, here I have write that a variable stores the data value that can be changed later on. Okay. So the data will be changed later on. Let me show you. Now, if I will write my name is equal to not Danish, then the data will be changed. Now, how we can uh, actually see the data is changed? The code for that is simple, which we just learned, and that was to display something in JavaScript. So I will write here console.log, put the braces here, and here I will write my name. Now, to run that code, we can do two things. We can go to go live, or another method to see our JavaScript code. We will open a terminal, and here we will write a command called node-index.js. Okay, so node-index.js. Now, here is the data which we manipulate as North Danish. Okay, so that's how the data can be changed later on as we see in the definition. Okay, so I'm gonna comment out that code. Now, let's come to our next point, which is global scope versus block scope versus function scope. Now, what's that? Actually, to understand it in a more better way, I will be explaining you that part in more details in later when we will be discussing the functions, because you can't really understand that part unless you will be familiar with function. But as a understanding or a brief introduction, I would like to tell you that global scope means a code of a global scope so that it can access from anywhere in the all over the code. For example, if I will write a variable on top of my code called my name Danish, then if I will make a function there, and in the function if I will write my name, then it will still display me. However, we didn't declare the variable my name in that function, but as the variable was of global scope, that's why we can use that variable wherever in our code. Now, I know you might be still confused with it because you don't know the functions yet. So we'll skip that part for now and we'll be discussing it later. So now let's come on to the more uh, important thing, which is types of variables. So we have three different types of variables in JavaScript. The first is var, which we just see. Okay. The second is let, and the third one is const. Now, why do we have different variables? The reason is the var variable is a global scope variable and can be redeclared with the same name again and again. Okay, so now let's understand it. If I will write var my name again here Danish, and then I will declare again the same variable called my name is not Danish, it will display me that part. Okay, so it means that we can redeclare the variables again and again. But a problem is if we are writing a huge code, then we can't remember what were the names of the variables which we have already declared. Okay, for example, if I want to declare a variable with my name Danish, and after some 100 lines, I would again need to declare a variable with someone's name, then as I have right here, my name is equal to Danish. In the second part, I will again write my name is equal to not Danish. Then the first part will be deleted from our code. Like we can't see that name Danish in our console. Okay, so that's the problem with var variable. So what happened in the past years, ECMAScript, as I have told you, is a regulatory body for JavaScript. So they introduced a new variable with let. Okay, so let is the block scope variable and can't be redeclared. In case of var was the global scope. So if we will write var anywhere in the code, we can access that variable however we are in a function or not in a function. But in case of let, if I will declare the variable outside of the function, then it can't be used in the function. Or if I will declare a variable in the let in a function with let keyword, then we can't use that variable outside of that function. So it will be a block scope. Now I have right there let variables can't be redeclared, but they can be reinitialized. Now, what's mean that? Let me show you. If I write here let my name is equal to Danish, right? Then if I will write let my name is equal to not Danish. So as you're seeing, the Visual Studio Code are highlighting my variables with the red line. It means that I made an error. So here is saying that cannot redeclare block scope variable my name. Okay, so that's the power of let keyword. So if we have declared already a variable with the same name, then we'll get an error instantly so that we will have all the data with the different names, so it will be more useful, right? So that's the magic of let keyword. Now I have written there that let keywords can't be redeclared, but they can be reinitialized. So what that means, let me show you. So if I have written here that my name is equal to Danish, so if I will reinitialize it, my name is not Danish. So now we don't have an error. The reason is we don't redeclare the variable, but we reinitialized it. Understand the difference between a redeclaration and reinitialization. Redeclaration means that we are creating a new variable with the same name. As we did here, we declare another variable with the same name, which were my name. Now here, we are not redeclaring the variable, but we are giving our previous variable a new value. Okay? And that is very useful actually. And we will see how it's useful when we will be discussing the functions. So for now, you have to understand that let variables can't be redeclared, but they can be reinitialized, right? So now let's move on to our third variable, which is const. Now, why we have const? As we saw in the var variable, there was a problem that var variable can be redeclared again and again. Okay, so it will disturb our data. In the case of let keyword, we can't redeclare, but we can reinitialize. But in case of const, we can't redeclared or even reinitialized. Okay, for example, we have here a specific value like const used for constant. Okay, so if we have a constant value which can't be changed, then we'll use const. So a const value will be here. I'll take a day. 1 day is equal to 24. Now it's showing me an error. Why it showed me error, I will be telling you in our next video. For now, I have declared a variable with day 1. So 1 day is equal to 24 hours, right? Now, if I will write day 1 is equal to 26. So what happened? Console.log day 1. Now let's see. So we have to save that code. So not index.js. Here we got the error, right? Now assignment to constant variable. So it means that in constant variable we can't even reinitialize the value. So that was it. That's how we use different variables in JavaScript according to our use. Now, I forgot to tell you one more thing, which is to save the code. Like if I write anything here, I need to save it to run. Like the updated code will be run only when you have saved it. So to save the code, we can go to File, and here we can click on Save. But more faster way is to simply press Ctrl plus S on your keyboard. So if I will press Ctrl plus S, it will be saved. Okay, so that was it for this video. I will be discussing the rules for declaration of the variables. As we saw there, I got an error when I put a number before the alphabet. So that was the rule of variable. So I will be telling you in the next video that what are the rules for the declaration of variables. Then we'll be continue with our JavaScript series. So stay tuned with me.